So good morning. I'm taking my morning stroll. It's really smoky out here. So I have my mask on. I don't know how preventative or how healthy this is, but I said I just need to get moving. Clear my head. Be alone to listen to the Most High. And I was just thinking as I'm walking, praying, and often when all of us have a story. All of us have a novel inside of us or a story to tell. But a lot of times, fear will paralyze us. And so often I struggle with sharing my story and being transparent, and also protecting and not uncovering the guilty. We've gone through the things that we've gone through to be a lighthouse and to guide others out of darkness in the direction of the Most High. But also, I believe when we're healed, our story is more effective. When we're healing, sometimes the bitter and the anger and the resentment can still spew out. And energy attracts itself. It seeks its own self. Just like Yah's sheep know his voice, so does the enemy. And when you're still wrestling with him, you will attract people who are still struggling as well, or who are fully inundated with him, with his spirit, with his characteristics. So I just want to be mindful about how I share and what I share. But I was just kind of reflecting on a friend of mine. Went to her drive-through book signing yesterday, and just kind of reflecting on what she's been to me. We both lost children to sudden illnesses. Mine's had her illness her whole life, but it was swift when it took her. And just being intentional about our healing, admitting the hurt, admitting the disarray and just frustration of sudden tragedy happening in your life, and you having to hold on to the last things that happened, that were said, that were done. And both of us have the same story. I'm grateful that I was very close to my daughter. I'm close to my daughter, my children, period. But there was no ought. There was no things left unsaid, no gestures left undone. And for those of us who have the opportunities to mend the brokenness in our families, in our relationships, I encourage you to do so. And if the grievance is not one that will continue to manifest traumas, I encourage you to find a way to bridge some of the gaps. And if it's toxic, I advise you to let it go, because healing can only happen once the toxicity and the bitterness have been removed. And if it still lingers, it will still pollute the areas where you have been okay. And I say all that to say, again, I am a child of that's had parent, especially my strong parent, the nurturer, the Ima, the strong glue, who was as nurturing as she knew how to be, as long as she felt you needed her. but also very toxic in her thoughts and words and deeds. When she didn't understand certain things, or when she was being who she is. And I don't like to lead with the trauma of not having a wholesome relationship with my mother, because as a woman, there are some things that she's taught me that I know a lot of girls didn't have and don't have and didn't experience, because she was very big on perception and the exterior and the grooming and manners and being perceived as polite, but there was some other stuff going on. And again, don't want to lead with the trauma, and I don't want to expose her too much, but often because of my personality and being an independent, strong-willed child, love was withheld when I didn't do or like or not even behave, because I mean, kids do kid stuff, but love was withheld when there was disappointment and anger. And I always am prompted to continue to even discipline and lead in love. And sometimes it can be perceived as a weakness, because I love very passionately and very hard, but it's not a weakness. It's not at all. It's strong, and you have to learn how to set boundaries and not be taken advantage of. And your kindness taken for weakness will sometimes cause others to say you're crazy if you act out once your feelings are hurt. So just all of those things, just allowing, again, your emotions to be your gauge and not your guide. And when you're sharing and you want to help someone and you choose to be transparent, try not to linger in the mess, in the cesspool. I call it playing in the mud. Again, I talked about that the other day, that the mud is made of dirt. Nothing in it is wholesome. Actually, there's sickness in the dirt. It's just filth. But after your heart has been cultivated and healthy soil, seeds can grow. Whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are true. Philippians 4:8, you think on those things. And I said all that I'm saying just to say that a lot of times I have been hesitant about leaning in and sharing, because I felt a need to, before I was really healed, to rake the people who have hurt me or been the mechanics in moving me into the position I'm in now, where I'm whole and able to share. And I've had those real long seasons of fighting the anger and the demons that try to bring FedEx boxes and want you to sign for them daily, because you want to continue to think on the things that aren't lovely, that aren't pure, that aren't true. And you know what? You have to release. You have to release others so that you can heal, and so that Yah can deal with them. We oftentimes, like in 2 Chronicles, we forget to stand still. We want to get in and do some mudslinging, and we want to expose. But you know what? Nobody knows what they've done more to you than the person that's done it. You only have a small peek in the window, and I believe it's probably all that Yah knows you could have endured at the time. But in times and in seasons as they pass, you'll heal, and you'll watch the people who don't, and you'll see that you don't have to even punish them with the words and with the continual reminding them of what they've done to you, because they've done it to themselves as well. Hurt people. And I just want to encourage anybody that has a story, who is whole, who has a story that can bring someone else out of the miry clay, who has a story that will guide another to the light of the love of Elohim, who will help make another one whole, do so. And I was talking about my friend in her book, and I read just a little bit of her story, and it was just too much at the time, just too much last night to just kind of ingest it all. But, I'm blessed to be surrounded by, I call her my angel sister, around women and men who I hold dear as friends, who have done the work, who have gone through the grief, and who have repurposed their pain. And that's what we have to do. We have to repurpose our pain. We don't let our pain become our purpose, because some of us do that, and you watch what it does. It takes away the beauty of who you really are. It eats away at you. And beauty is an inside job, and healing is an inside job, and becoming whole is an inside job. And telling your truth is an introspecting job, because you have to go in, and you have to go in those dark areas, and sometimes you shut the door because that's not what you want to deal with today. I have those moments, but some days it's like, you know what? Yeah, give me the courage to clean out this closet, clean out this mess, because it's one more thing that's holding me back from freedom, free to worship, free to praise, free to experience the joy of my salvation. So today, I just wanted to encourage you in Yahuwah, encourage you in your healing, encourage you in your walk. No matter how dark it gets, know that there is light on the other side, and know that Yah has already prepared a person for you. Somebody has already gone through what you're going through, or what you are about to go through, because you're doing one of three things in life. You're either coming out of a storm, going into a storm, or in the midst of one. But walk on through, okay? Because it says you have to go through it. Your healing, you have to go through it. Don't stop in the middle of it. Continue on, continue walking, continue praying, continue the introspecting work, continue to love even when you've been disappointed and hurt, and know that there's a brother or a sister or someone on the other side waiting to hold your hand and walk the rest of the mile with you. Don't reject the love. I've done that a lot, because, like I said, if you figure if the person that gave birth to me doesn't properly love me or doesn't care, why should anyone? But you know what? Yah sees, and he knows, and he sends your person on the other side of your pain. And I'm smiling right now because there's a hummingbird, and I don't, it's a folklore, or maybe not, but whenever I go out to the cemetery and I visit my baby, there's a hummingbird in a tree, and it flies down and it just hovers while I'm there. And I said, you know what? The first time I went, I was broken, and I just sat there and I wept. And the bird flew out and allowed me to, it caught my attention, and my eyes went up. And that's what Yah was telling me. He was telling me to look up so that I could see that he sees me. He hears me, he knows me, and he knows what I'm going through, and he cares. And just, he uses all things, creation belongs to him. And so our ancestors and the natives believed that hummingbirds were a loved one, or Yah sending a spirit of one to visit. And so every morning when I walk, there's a hummingbird that comes out and just kind of hovers. At my little niece's house the other day when we were swimming, she has two. And if anybody knows me and knows my story, my daughter and my granddaughter transitioned. So she says there are two, and they come every morning, and they just sit in the tree, and they sit while I'm out there eating and everything else. And so I just thought it was cool that we share the same experience, that the same thing happens when we're thinking about them. But anyway, be encouraged, stay encouraged, be blessed. Get out your own way if you're the obstacle in your way. If there are people in your way that are hindering your growth and your healing, remove them from your sphere. Find your place of healing and wholeness, and happiness in the Word. Let that be the water that washes your heart. And until next time, shalom.